to start.
Rock concert movement number 1. The basic head bob. Ready, go.
Everybody freak out! Oh, welcome. Brad Show with you here on just a dreary Tuesday afternoon in the capital city. Phone number is 244-0077. All are welcome. Some are even capable. You can email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com, and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Just go to that website, thebradshawshow.com, for almost all, of your Bradshaw needs. If there is a Bradshaw need that site doesn't fulfill, you don't need it. Leave it alone. So, thebradshawshow.com is your one-stop shop for all of my fun information. So, we'll talk about the rise of the nuns. Not the nuns on a bus. I'll explain. The latest in the trends. There's more like me. Kind of. We'll explain. Is there a hack gap? Well, yeah, but I'll explain that. And, I mean, it would be funny if it wasn't so sad. How bat crap insane people go galt in the 21st century. And yes, there'll be a Ken Sorensen reference in there. First, though, all my friends on the left need to take a deep breath. And welcome back. I mean, first thing we should do is welcome back our friends on the right who all of a sudden magically believe in the science of polling again. It's funny how that works. I'm not, for those of you who've been living in a cave, and over the past couple of months, the trend on the right has been to unskew the polls. Somehow believing that the media, right, whose livelihood depends on getting as many people to pick up your newspaper, go to your website, watch Wolf Blitzer, except when he's on Jeopardy, because that did not go well. This belief that somehow the media wanted Obama to win so bad that they were skewing the polls pro-Obama to discourage Republican voters. This was the conspiracy theory. All right, that the media was so in the tank. Even Fox News, which showed a huge Obama lead, was so in the tank for Obama. They wanted to make sure that this wasn't a close race and that Republicans were, so demoralized they would just stay home and watch the 700 Club on Election Day. Buy some of Pat Robertson's, magic protein goodies or whatever. Magically, that doesn't seem to be the case today. Again, I think we all can admit that Barack Obama got his butt kicked. Probably not as bad as we're making it seem. I mean, certainly in substance wise. I go back to the 1960 election. The first ever televised presidential debate was Kennedy versus Nixon. They broke down the polling, people who watched it on TV and people who listened on the radio. All right, without the visuals. You had Nixon, who I think had the flu, was it? Didn't wear makeup, didn't look good, versus, the young, strapping buck JFK. And when they broke down the polling on who won the debate, if you listen to the radio, overwhelmingly folks said Obama did. Or Nixon did. Yikes. Those who watched it on TV overwhelmingly said Kennedy did. And Seriously, go back and watch some of the debate as we get ready for tomorrow night's vice presidential rumble, which should be a hoot. Go back and watch. And the optics versus the message. I'm guessing you would have gotten a similar breakdown. Or people who listened on the radio and watched it on TV. Because these days we have the added effect of post-debate analysis in, whatever particular flavor you want. You turn on Fox, you can turn on MSNBC, you can turn on C-SPAN to hear what crazy people think. There's nothing more entertaining than C-SPAN callers. I don't know how Brian Lamb and the group over there handle some of these people. Like, you think, like, SNL did their undecided voters skit. Right? You think, like, oh, they're skewering the undecided voters and making fun of people, low information voters. And then you turn on C-SPAN, and then you actually hear those very same people espousing their points. It's very similar to what you get doing open line time on AM radio. Or you can watch CNN, which is just kind of a mishmash these days. I mean, just seriously bad. That further pushes the narrative. And Kevin Drum in Mother can't speak today. Mother Jones Magazine. Dog was up yelping at 6 in the morning. Bad times. But Kevin Drum over in Mother Jones talked about what he calls the hack gap. And it's akin to something I've been talking about, is that the infrastructure on the left and the right are very different. And ours is nowhere near as fleshed out. Another term would be kind of wingnut welfare. Is the right, and this is something they really started doing in the 70s. Things like the Coors Foundation, the Scaife Foundation, these, right-wing billionaires, Koch brothers, the people who do what George Soros does, but on the right, so then it's okay. Make sure that there is a well-funded wingnut welfare system. That the Dinesh D'Souza's, the Ann Coulters, the Laura Ingrams never have to worry about putting food on their family, as George Bush said. There will always be some sort of pick-me-up. For a local example, Matt Strawn, right, had to fall on the sword because the Iowa caucuses were such a mess this year. It was Romney wins, Santorum wins. No one. We're just going to call it a tie. The numbers are delayed. The optics of it all was horrible. So somebody had to go. Matt Strawn, right, was the head of the Iowa GOP. He, performed ritual suicide. He was, the body to throw to the masses, the head on a pike. And, will Matt Strawn be okay? Short time later, Matt Strawn named the new head of, GOPAC. There's always a pick-me-up. There's always a safety net so that the folks like Matt Strawn never have to worry about being hungry. And, money always flows to, the Heritage Foundation, Cato Institute. And these groups make sure to employ plenty of talking heads who are, at a moment's notice ready to go on your Fox News, go on with your Aaron Burnett, be an expert on the Sean Hannity show. Thanks for calling in. Be part of a shootout or whatever he's calling it these days. And the left doesn't have that. Otherwise, my, W2 would look a lot better. They don't have the same noise machine infrastructure. Something like MSNBC, at least in prime time. People always forget Joe Scarborough's there. Trying to make the, absolute equivalency to Fox. One's left, one's right. They're exactly the same, right? The truth must be in the middle. I love South Park. As most like, it's not quite as black and white as that. And that's one of the things Kevin Drum talks about today. He's saying, he watched the debate, and he didn't watch any of the post-debate spin because he was still writing down his own thoughts to be published. Then he flips on MSNBC. I didn't watch any commentary immediately after the debate because I wanted to write down my own reactions first, and my initial sense was that Obama did a little bit worse than Romney. After I hit the publish button and turned on the TV, I learned differently. As near as I could tell, the entire MSNBC crew was ready to commit ritual suicide right there on live TV, Howard Beale style. Ditto for all their guests, including grizzled polls like Ed Rendell, who should have known better. It wasn't just that Obama did poorly, he was delivering the worst debate performance since Clarence Darrow left William Jennings Bryan in a smoking husk at the end of Inherit the Wind. It wasn't just that. It was a personal affront, a betrayal of everything they thought was great about Obama, and needless to say, put Obama's entire second term in jeopardy and made Romney the instant frontrunner. And as someone who watched some MSNBC that night, Ed Schultz was just like in a complete meltdown, and Chris Matthews as well. And here's the difference between MSNBC and Fox. No matter what Romney did, you could completely change performances. Does anyone not believe that Fox and Friends the next day, Brian Kilmeade would tell you what a great job Romney did? Does anyone believe that Sean Hannity is going to have legit criticism for the Romney performance? Kevin Drum goes on to talk about the hack gap. On Fox, there really are no limits. It's not as if Steve Doocy and the rest of crew at Fox and Friends are going to say, wait, we're supposed to say the job numbers are manipulated by the White House conspiracy? I don't think that's supported by the facts. I guarantee you that even if Obama performs spectacularly in the second debate and Romney stumbles terribly, Sean Hannity will still get on the air immediately afterward and tell everyone watching that Romney was fantastic and Obama was terrible. This will not only help buck up the conservatives, it will encourage reporters to discuss the debate in the way that Kevin describes. It's a point. It's to influence the rest. This is where the hacks come in. That, again, no matter what the discussion, the right wing has learned very well that there is no sort of gatekeeper these days. When people pick up their, copy of the Register, when people, flip on CNN, it's not, giant right-wing conspiracy. It's debate over, latest jobs numbers. They're able to push that line of thinking, knowing full well that the word liar is something you're never going to read, in the New York Times. They don't do that. That's not the game they play. All right, Jennifer Jacobs is never going to say so-and-so is lying. Some say, others question. Debate remains over. It's this weird, neutral, passive. And again, don't confuse unbiased with passive. The example I always give, some say Earth is round. Debate continues among others. How do we know that ships won't fall off the edge of the Earth? One, and we live in a deeply polarized country. It's 45, 10 in the middle. Don't really know what an election is. You really don't want to offend any of the 45. So saying, Mitt Romney was perhaps not being honest about what he's been saying for months about his tax plan is a good way for angry people in Olwine or whatever to write, cancel, you liberal hacks, on their latest register bill and send it off. In a world where it is entirely too easy, if you ask me, and it doesn't matter what perspective, to only get that narrative, to never be confronted with things you perhaps disagree with. Those who don't pick a side, and I think you see this with newspaper circulation, or CNN ratings. And I'm not saying you have to pick a Democrat side or a liberal side. I think that, in fact, there's a huge hole in the cable TV market for, no BS. Not some artificial no spin zone, which magically happens to support the GOP. I'm saying, call them all out. We hate them all. In fact, I think that network would do quite well. But there's certainly the hack gap. And the right wing, again, is smart. Not a value judgment here. I'm just saying it is what it is a good way to inject their unique point of view into every conversation. And certainly folks on the left, we don't have the same uniformity. What is seen like as a right-wing, oddity. For example, these Tea Partiers that are voting out, strong Republican independents for the Christine O'Donnells and Sharon Ingalls of the world. This is seen as an oddity. This isn't how things work. There's a lot more unity, generally, on the right. Not so on the left. It is a lot like herding cats with ADD on meth, who have trust issues. That's pretty much what being a Democrat in 2012 is like. It's part of having a big tent. And so what you're seeing now, with the first really good, positive Romney polling, is an absolute freak out. Looking at Andrew Sullivan yesterday, and I know he's not the best example. Little bipolar. Did Obama just throw the entire election away? Looking at the big number everyone was talking about yesterday was the Pew poll, which showed Romney with a rather substantial lead. Showed a 12-point swing in the last week. Goes from Obama 51-43 to Romney 49-45. Women evenly divided, Obama and Romney. That's an 18-point swing from last week. I mean, it is a complete meltdown, freak out. But don't worry, Andrew Sullivan has the solution. How can Obama come back? By ensuring people know that Romney was and is a shameless liar, an opportunist. That doesn't work for a sitting president. Sullivan's advice is to fully embrace Simpson Bowles, because nothing will excite liberals in a base election than cutting Medicare and Social Security. And again, you don't have to unskew the polls, which I'm curious, has anyone checked unskew the polls or unskewedpolls.com? How are they handling the Romney bump? I retweeted Dick Morris today saying, it's nice to see Romney ahead, even if the polls are skewed. So it's good to know that there are some true believers. And in a week, if the poll numbers look like this, yes, then it is time to worry. But as a hackish American once said, let not your heart be troubled. I'm here to tell you that the world is not ending. It has not spun off its axis. They have not found the exhaust, thermal exhaust port just yet on the Obama star. Let me ask you a simple question. Which do you think is going to get more attention from a media that wants ratings, page views, and eyeballs and ears? A poll that shows little movement, that shows status quo, or is the most attention going to be a single poll, in this case Pew, that shows a massive change? It's a horse race. It's neck and neck once again. Again, as a member of the liberal media, I can explain how it works, but it is pretty self-evident if you take a minute. Ron, welcome. What can I do for you today?
You're making some good points. And you remember the 70s movie Network?
Oh, yeah.
And the big, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Somehow that movie wound up being prophetic because that movie described how media was going to evolve. It was going to evolve according to rageaholism. And rather than deal with reality or truth that the network was going to program the most absurd, ridiculous programming because, hey, people were into it. Except that, of course, looking back, the people who made Network had no idea how bad it was going to get.
Well, again, as we have gone from, a country with 3 broadcast channels, 7 or 8 if you lived in a big city, to 500. We've gone from what's on the AM dial to what's on the AM or FM dial to what's on the entirety of the internet. Again, there are still only 24 hours in a day. You still need to sleep between 4 and 12 of those. There is much greater competition for eyeballs. We haven't quite gotten to the Running Man or Death Race 2000 just yet. But we've certainly learned that flashy, loud draws eyeballs. Fox kind of backed into their right-wing, wacko ways. It's almost, a genetic mistake. They started with just throw everything against the wall and see what sticks, like many new channels do.
There
was, frankly, the angry, impotent white male was underserved in
here's the thing, though. Despite all this media, despite 500 channels, despite the internet, despite the information superhighway, I need to believe that the person in 1970 who relied on Walter Cronkite and his daily newspaper to give him a handle on current affairs was a more competent voter citizen than his contemporary is today.
But again, you're comparing apples to Newt Gingrich moon bases. The two are could not be more different. It is a different country. It is a different media landscape. Walter Cronkite, I don't think could even get a network TV job at this point. He'd be the John Bachman of Asheville, North Carolina, or something.
Which leads me to my next and last point. In the mid-'80s, after Ronald Reagan got reelected, there was this interesting book written called Landslide, and it was written by a couple of Wall Street Journal reporters who just kind of put together the whole Iran-Contra debacle that was the second Reagan term. And it was good reading, one of the best books I ever read. And I was thinking, investigative journalism of this type is dead. Doesn't really happen anymore. And you certainly don't expect an indictment of a conservative administration from, let's say, Wall Street Journal reporters anymore. And all you go into the Barnes and Nobles or whatever, you see aisles and aisles of political polemics. Why Obama is more evil than Hitler, and there's
that stuff sells. It's almost an unbelievably dense market, and on top of that, for the stuff that doesn't sell, this is where wingnut welfare comes in once again. The priming of the pump, and the New York Times bestseller list is a good way of doing this. Let's say I'm Ann Coulter and I'm writing a new book. Now, I've been kind of come in the crazy department. I've been eclipsed as, the top of the right-wing commentating world. but I still serve a useful purpose. What generally happens is these large think tanks, right-wing advocacy groups, will buy these books by the truckload. In some cases, they'll give them away, join the John Birch Society and get 5 free books. Or, hey, get 5 conservative, authors for a penny, the old Columbia House model. They find ways to ship them out, but in some cases, these books, literally come with the Borders or, Barnes & Noble sticker still on them. They buy a ton of them, but they buy a ton of them the first week. It shoots up the list, and then they...
Let me say one more thing before you cut me loose. My point is, investigative journalism is dead. And you know what? The conservatives are always screaming about media bias. But I have a hard time believing if we still had a vigorous investigative journalism like we had, I don't know, just maybe from the 1930s through the 1970s, just 40, 50 years. I don't think that the centers of wealth and privilege would come out shining all that well.
I don't think there's an audience for it. I think in short attention span theater that we live in this day, whether it's the Valerie Plame scandal, whether it's the Attorney General, or the state attorney, firing scandal, whether it's drone strikes, I don't think the audience is there.
Well, you know what? Then democracy is doomed.
Well, I mean, for all its flaws, our media system, and yes, Fox News is a mainstream media. We're the biggest, audience in Fox News. We have the biggest, stars in cable news, but we're not the mainstream media. Oh, okay. But if you just take the sphere as a whole, it is, for the most part, truly a great democracy. If impotent, angry white men just started turning off their TV in droves, Fox News would flip like that. And, talk about something else. Take another point of view. If people watch it, it stays on, and you get copycats.
I wouldn't describe what we have today as democratic discourse. It's just, like you said.
No, I mean you have ratings.
The debate has been going on between Obama and his opponents for 2 years, and Obama is winning.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that a 90-minute segment where they managed to clean up and prop up Mitt so he doesn't berate half the electorate, or he doesn't say something that's just so country club that you just got to roll your eyes or whatever. If that decides the election...
It won't. It won't any more than Walter Mondale wiping the floor with Ronald Reagan did in 1984.
I think that,
but here's how. But hold on. Here, I'll explain to you how.
You have media jump onto that as like a turning point, and now they've been going on
because they want a horse race. They need a close election. Without that, no one tunes in.
They aren't interested in the truth. They aren't interested in facts. They're interested in creating a media product, a conflict.
Because that's what we tune into.
I don't.
We, the American people, do. That's what causes us to tune in. And Ron, I appreciate the call. But here's the thing. It's not just a 90-minute, segment. This goes back to the hack gap. It's the 2 days of coverage after. Part of what moved the polls was enthusiasm, and there was a large and marked enthusiasm gap on the right. 2 months of bad campaigning will do that to you. It's no surprise at the first signs of life, a lot of those discouraged Republicans all of a sudden jumped up. Yes, I am a likely voter. Yes, I'm, highly energized. An answer they wouldn't have given a week ago when Romney was still giving off his loser stench. Can he maintain it? My guess is no. Not because I want it to be true, not because, I don't know, I'm reading, chicken entrails and unskewing the polls. Because of experience. What was 4 years ago today? Let's see if I can find it. The headline on CNN. I'm sorry, 8 years ago on this very day. CNN poll shows Kerry beating Bush 49-48 among likely voters. And this is where a little perspective comes in. This is, yes, Barack Obama was not going to win this race by 8 or 9 points. Right? That's just a matter of perspective. Thursday and Friday polling is not going to change the entire race. Yes, it will invigorate the right, and maybe the best thing about it is they won't pull money from the Romney campaign to put in, say, Steve King's coffers to buttress him against Christy Vilsack. They won't be putting money in Tom Latham's coffers or Todd Akins. But no, the fundamentals of the race have not changed. Barack Obama still has a net positive approval rating. The electoral map certainly is in his favor. Yeah, call me in a week and tell me what the polls look like then. Back to when Republicans believe that they are skewed and it's a conspiracy once again. Yeah, just a little perspective. Read the tea leaves. Leave the chicken whole, or at least, maybe stuff it. Put a lemon in there, cover it with paprika and oil. Have it for dinner. Don't try to read the future off it. Don't forget to take the giblets out. Just a little perspective, a little less ADD, a little more Adderall. Don't worry. Yeah. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy can teach us a lot. Don't panic. All right, coming up next, Vogon Poetry. Check out thebradshawshow.com. Email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. I'm sure to make some more Dick Morris toe jokes before the day is over. And when we come back, perhaps there's something we can learn about the really, really rich in this country. Especially when they pull a Kent Sorensen. I'll explain when we come back here on The Bradshaw Show on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching.
Max Real Estate Concept Studios. This is Webcast One Live.
Get tired of pretending that life is perfect? If what they see isn't how you feel, God knows, and He understands. Chat now with someone who cares at groundwire.net.
Oh my God, Becky, did you see her bumper? I know she's had work done. Just last week, she had dimples and stuff all over, and now look.
Yeah, dimples and stuff. Yeah.
I'm Jamie Lasher from Minor Express. We're here to help with all the dents, dings, and drama of car ownership. Call 278-0101 or visit minorec.com for details. We'll see you in the fast lane.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home. Or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures, we have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
It's time to start.
Rock concert movement number
All
one.
right, 205 Bradshaw with you here on a beautiful, cold, dark,
Ready,
dreary
go.
Tuesday. Don't panic. Kick back. Relax. Have a Pangalactic Gargle Blaster. Whatever you need to do just to take a... Don't go full Andrew Sullivan. All right, email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com, and follow me on Twitter. Twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw. From the Twitters. Just out of curiosity, on the web, can you technically swear like XM Radio, or do you have a dump button? I keep it clean. It's kind of what we do here. We keep it, family friendly as a platform, and I'm more than happy. I don't feel the need to go all Opie and Anthony. That being said, if Romney wins, Dan, we're playing nothing but meat spin for the full hour.
I don't know what that is.
I wouldn't Google it.
I don't Google anything you suggest.
That is a word of... I tell people, don't look this stuff up, but they do, and then they complain about it. For those, maybe, I don't know, like a Goatsy or something. Have you ever seen Goatsy?
Goatsy, the somebody I used to know guy?
You used to know?
Is I thought...
No, that's a band. No,
that's what I thought.
Goatsy is like the original shock site on the internet.
No, I've never seen that.
Have I got something to show you?
No, I don't think I'll be looking at it.
Yes, you have to have. Everyone, I haven't Goatsied someone in forever just because everyone's seen it by now. Except you?
I've never seen that site, no.
Okay, hold on.
I don't.
Leave your...
I don't want to see it. Don't show me it.
Leave your mic on because I want to get... This is for
my
science.
My eyes have seen enough evil. I don't need to see
No,
I'm not going to look, Brad.
Hold on. I'm just going to bring it up. We won't show it to the audience.
I'm not going to look at it.
You got just...
No.
What?
No, because I think I know what it is, and I don't want to look at it.
Well, if you haven't seen it, how can you know what it is?
I have never been to a site called Goatsy.
Goatsy.cx, which has been closed.
No, I've never been there.
Hold on. Images?
No.
I want to get...
No, don't. Dude, don't. I don't want to see
part
it.
of the fun...
You're forcing on me something I don't want to see.
No, I'm just... Part of the fun is the kind of the response.
I don't want to have a response. I just don't want to see it.
It's got... How about reverse Goatsy? Would that work for you? Oh, there it is. No, I'm just... Hold on a second. Here. That's Goatsy. Look. Gaze upon it in wonder. So if Romney wins, it'll be like a full hour of nothing but meat spin. But no, we keep things clean here. Google it yourself.
I don't want to see it.
I want to know what your response is.
I don't want to have a response. It's
you
okay.
You need to have a response.
I don't need to see certain things, and I'm gonna guess because I found out what Lemon Party was that I don't need to see what this is.
I did send that one to some Twitter troll, who then once again tried to have me fired, which I got kind of a kick out of. Sometimes you just got a good shock site.
You do know that Twitter troll was the best man at my wedding, right?
No, he was?
Yeah, Cody Johnson.
I was going to say his name.
Oh, well, it's out now.
Yep. He was kind of, if you go read the stuff he was saying, was a little douchey, which is...
I don't know. I have a job to do. I don't really get it. The only thing I know is I don't have to see Goatsy.
Not yet. Not until I go change your screensaver. From the emails, radiobradshaw@gmail.com. WTF, which is always... Steve Deace on MSNBC. Again, Romney's in Iowa today. He's out in Van Meter on a farm, which, by the way, I assume this is Iowa CCI at work. Not only did they have Sesame Street characters And it was fun watching like the Romney people try to stand in front of him. They were flying a banner like "Crackdown on Wall Street, not Sesame Street," which I got a chuckle out of. That's the kind of stuff that CCI should be doing, less of the confrontational. And Jeremy emails, any chance you know if Huck is coming to the Funny Bone? I want the chance to yawn and walk out in person instead of just turning off the radio when he tries to make the funnies. Yeah, Huckabee and his sense of humor don't really connect with me either. He used to have many long and not so fruitful conversations with the syndication folks about that. And then Greg sends along the Fox News election map showing both Iowa, Minnesota, Pennsylvania in Romney territory. Okay, that is a little laughable. All right, email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com, and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. This is an interesting one from Gawker. Catches this one. And this goes back. First, a little hindsight. This was a forwarded email that was going around in 2008 from, anonymous CEO to the stupid plebes that work under him, saying that if Obama is elected because of his, socialist Kenyan usurper black policies, he will fire anyone who votes for Obama, or fire anyone, fire everyone, fire everything, go full Nero. David Siegel, the CEO of Westgate Resorts, a multinational timeshare company, apparently saw this forwarded email and decided to make it his own. I kid you not, sent out an email yesterday to all employees threatening to fire every one of them, perhaps fire all of them, if Obama is elected. You can find this on the Gawker side. I won't read you the whole thing. It says he won't, we can't tell you who to vote for, and he wouldn't interfere with your right to vote for whoever you choose. But what does threaten your job is another 4 years of the same presidential administration. This is a guy building a $100 million home. When you leave the office, you are done, and you have the weekend all to yourself. I do not have that freedom, because they're filming a reality show about the building of his $100 million home. A 90,000 square foot monument to excess, the folks at Gawker call it. He's copying. He got his idea from a forwarded chain email in a Ken Sorensen mold, and is threatening to fire every single one of his employees if Obama is elected. If any new taxes are levied on me or my company, as our current president plans, I will have no choice but to reduce the size of this company. I can no longer support a system that penalizes the productive and gives to the unproductive. My motivation is to work and provide jobs will be destroyed. And with it, so will your opportunities. If that happens, you can find me in the Caribbean sitting on the beach under a palm tree, retired with no employees to worry about. Signed, your boss, David Siegel. Can we just, between this and the Jack Welch, remember on Friday, he was running around from cable network to cable network saying how the Bureau of Labor Statistics was skewing the numbers in favor of Obama. And he doesn't have any proof, but it just seems what they would do. Not all rich people are paragons of society, perhaps, that just maybe guys like me have a point that there might be some luck involved in this. And yes, even crazy people get lucky. Maybe we shouldn't exclusively look to the rich and successful to tell us how to live our lives. I mean, just ignoring the whole FYIGM territory. Here's a guy, billionaire, 100 millionaire, who thinks that going back to the Bill Clinton era tax rates, right, will destroy any, interest he has in running a business. And for those who read childish teen literature, we call this going Galt. John Galt. Who was John Galt? A fantasy character. This theory that if you punish the successful, the Ubermen, like David Siegel, they're going to leave. And whenever I hear this insane sort of theory floated, I go back to the quote that, every cemetery in the world is filled with indispensable men. Like, no offense, but go. I have no doubt someone will inherit your place. Someone will, hard work their way, or sometimes just oopsie their way. They'll Peter Principle their way on up and magically replace you, much like we replaced the titans of industry in the 40s, 30s, 1870s. There will always be another. Now, I could make another Goatsy reference here, but we'll just leave it as is. It's nice, though, I guess, to see some of these folks come publicly unhinged. I've certainly had... Dan, you were there for my most recent example of them coming privately unhinged. But these folks were supposed to put up, on pedestals as paragons. They are Atlas themselves. They hold up the world. Perhaps are a bit touched in the head.
You think?
It is... Well, it's almost, we have like a form of hero worship in this country. Like, if you're rich, you must be right. You're successful, you obviously know what's going on. That's not always the case.
But that is sometimes the case.
It's just, there's as many, like, poor people walking around talking to themselves, believing that, the garbage cans have secret message, as the rich.
Sure.
They're no more moral. Ask Rupert Murdoch. In fact, just leave it on voicemail. He'll hear it himself. They're not necessarily more in touch with reality. Yes, some work hard, but there are plenty of, where I've heard this point somewhere before. There are plenty of hard workers who don't make, billion-dollar investments. This whole, though, you're a billionaire. You are someone to listen to, Mr. Trump. Tell me more about long-form birth certificates. Maybe we should, just a little bit hold off on the hero worship. And maybe
doesn't his hair speak for itself?
It probably can. It probably has its own room in the Trump mansion.
Yeah, I've never got why people like Donald Trump. I mean, he's bankrupted more businesses than he's created.
The dude bankrupted casinos. How's that possible?
Well, it's good business, though.
Multiple casinos.
It's good business. How do you think he pays for everything? Let's build a multi-million-dollar industry, bankrupt it, and keep the cash. Sounds like a good idea to me.
No. In fact, he had a hard time with the casinos. His main business now is selling his name. For enough money, you can build a Trump Tower. You just have to pay him to license his name, and he comes out and will do some publicity and tell you, what a great time it is. And occasionally he builds a golf course over a dump with toxic fume emissions in New York. That one's he's pulling off. Great businessman.
Golfers deserve it, though.
That's true. That's why I support Agenda 21 and the elimination of golf. This is what Republicans actually believe. All right, quick break. When we come back, this one's going to drive you nuts. You're going to hate this more than Goatsy. But both are expanding experiences. The rise of the nuns. And I'll explain what that means when we come back. It's Bradshaw here on The Bradshaw Show, bradshaw.com, and Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. Back right after this.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going, though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
It's time to start.
Rock concert.
All right, good news as we get ready for tomorrow's vice presidential debate. This one's going to be fun just because of the expectations game. It's, again, not playing the, lower our guys, raise the others. The right wing has already decided that Paul Ryan is the most brilliant anyone ever, which is why everyone, did you see the video of Paul Ryan getting testy yesterday?
I try not to watch political stuff.
Not big news, but he did specifically say that even Obama's not calling for gun regulation, which goes against like the entire NRA, 2012 message calendar. But the right wing has decided he's the most, brilliant anything ever. He's a wonk. Which is we'd expect someone to say if they don't know what a wonk is or looks like or sounds like, versus Joe Biden, who they believe is just, can't avoid drooling on himself. It's going to be fun. That is going to be a fun debate to watch. I'm calling my shot now. How about just some good news? The rise of the nuns, N-O-N-E. And this is the latest in kind of an ongoing trend. But this is a new number from the Pew Research Center. And the share of adults, 18 and over, who do not claim any religious affiliation, jumped from 15% the last time they did a number to 19.6, almost 20% in 2012. And this kind of backs up the numbers we've been seeing now, again, for years. And it's not just Pew, it's even, the Barna Group, which is an evangelical, Christian kind of, polling opinion think tank center, says the same thing. Most of it's being driven by younger folks, those 18 to 29-year-olds. 32% of them are not religious. Which, again, finally, more company for me. But the bigger issue to me is why. Robert Putnam and David Campbell wrote a book, American Grace. Their argument, which I find compelling, they argue the religious rights, politicizing of faith, starting in the 90s, turned younger, more socially liberal Christians away from churches, even as conservatives became more zealous. The dropouts were turned off by churches' Old Testament condemnation, homosexuals, premarital sex, contraception, and abortion. Certainly the Catholic Church sex scandal coming to light didn't help matters. And I'll take it one step further. The Daces and the Vanderplatzes, just in the case of Vanderplatz, just a pure money grab, power grab. Do far more than I could ever do, and say more than I could ever say about turning people off of religion. But now there's more nuns than there are Protestants in this country. We're second only to Catholics as far as groups go. And
I would tell you those numbers I don't think are right. Catholics don't have the majority.
No.
I would say non-denominational
they don't have a majority.
Evangelical.
They just there are more self-professed.
I don't know. I think the greater evangelical church wins by a landslide on any of those numbers.
The largest, I'm sorry, you're right. The Protestants fell below 50% for the first time.
There you go.
All grouped in. You're right, my bad. They were 53% in 2007, 48% now. So the largest single group is still Catholics. But then again, you wouldn't put yourself in with, I don't know, the Seventh-day Adventists.
I wouldn't put myself with either one of those groups.
No, you're just plain evangelical Protestant.
I would be more like a fundamentalist Protestant. So I would segregate the group further by act of necessity.
But you deal with this, though. You host your own show, which is for younger Christians.
Sure.
That 18 to 29.
We'd like to say 35, but yeah.
Okay, 1835 is kind of your wheelhouse.
Sure.
Do you see these sorts? I mean, do you ever have this discussion of why are young people turning away from religion as a whole?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, that's what we talk about.
What's your prescription?
My prescription is I think that the church has been accurately described in certain times as full of hucksters and apostate, and I mean you can see through a lot of the stuff they're saying, and it's not because the message isn't true. It's because the people that are purveying that message have crafted it into a way that they seem fit and presented it in a way that benefits them. And it isn't pure.
But that's not new. I mean
no.
There's nothing new under the sun. The priests of Amun-Ra were,
sure,
pushing for political power and
sure. I don't think it's new. I just think it is what it is. And I think the church comes and goes in waves, and perhaps we're in a wave, perhaps we're not. The thing that I think is important to note is that it has been steady for 2,000 years now, that it has never gone away. And I don't expect to in this wave either.
I don't expect it to go away, but you look around the world, countries like Japan, are almost majority non-religious at this point.
Sure, but then you look at China where Christianity is exploding. So
I think you see same thing in former Soviet Union. Our number one geopolitical foe, according to conservatives. But then again, they also have, folks walking around. I watched a great piece from Vice yesterday about a guy who claims he's the Messiah and has built a cult somewhere.
And we'll have those. I mean, look at the Mormons.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I just wrote a blog about them, so I'm okay.
I don't know. My whole thing with the Mormons is we've seen how, Scientology came to be. We know how the Mormon Church came to be. What makes you think that other religions didn't start out the same way? But that's another topic for another time.
Fine.
It's just that these happened more recently, so we have better historical.
Well, and I don't think they're enduring as well either.
No, they're enduring. I mean, Scientology.
In 2,000 years, I think we won't have a discussion about Scientology.
No, but I guarantee if I put you 2,000 years in the future, you would not recognize that version of Christianity any more so than, the original Roman converts would recognize.
See, and I'll disagree with you here because I think
church.
If you look at what's going on right now in the greater evangelical church, we actually have something called Reformed and Restless or New Calvinism, and that is a very old doctrine that's over 1,000 years old coming back. It was an Augustinian thing that John Calvin, of course, picked up, and that's coming back, and that would be, in my estimation, what it was in the first century even. So I don't know that I agree with that.
I don't think they're. Again,
I think we're going back.
Religions tend to mirror their times.
Well, everything mirrors the time. We live in a context. We can't take ourselves out of that context. I'm not going to go and start herding goats and not eating shellfish. It's just not going to happen.
No, but you go from kind of an apocalyptic cult, a group that believes they are living in the end times. Again,
Sure.
Nothing new there. We still have those
Sure.
Today, who then take this kind of religion of Jesus and turn it into a religion of Jesus. No, I don't think they would recognize the Catholic Church today, Lutheran
Well,
Church.
I don't think they'd
whatever.
recognize. I will agree with you. They wouldn't recognize the Catholic Church today, but
no, I don't think they would recognize.
But that was what the Reformation was about.
No, I mean they would scratch their heads and go, "What are these people?"
Well, I mean, but you're really taking. I mean, this isn't a real logical argument because you're taking people out of the context of time and saying that anybody from the first century is going to come here and recognize anything.
Well, no, I'm not talking about, oh, God, there's demons in the sky that are making light. Nothing. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying if you just gave them a document, written in Greek that describes the church today.
And see,
they would not recognize it.
I think they would. I don't have any. Now, they may not see how it applies to our context. They may see that we take stuff in different contexts. We live in a different context.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you lived in first century Rome, first century AD Rome, and you read the book of Revelations, you would read it as, this is a very sly indictment.
And they wouldn't have read
Roman
that. They actually, the Romans wouldn't have read that at all. That was given to the churches in Asia. And so we look back at Asia 2,000 years ago, and look, there's a bunch of foo dogs and dragons. So it makes sense that they would write in this encrypted
But people
manner.
look at it today through a modern context, and
they're wrong. That's why I interpret Revelation as happening.
A Kirk Cameron movie Left Behind.
Yeah, but see, they're wrong. I mean, they're trying to force it into today's context, and whether we like it or not, Jesus Christ happened at a certain point in time in history. It is in that context in which it happened. It had to happen that way, and so we can't take those things out of that context and weave them into today's religion.
I don't think that, if you took the disciples and put them into church today,
well,
they wouldn't understand. Wait a minute.
The fundamentals of Christianity are
they'd
saying
be like, the world is still here?
Yeah, they probably would be. I mean, but again, they actually would know because, of course, they're in heaven now. But so they would be aware of that. But yeah, I mean, I think they would probably. I think if you would have asked a disciple before he died,
skee-ball every now and again.
I think if you would have asked a disciple before he died, if that was the end time, they probably would have answered, "Well, it seems like it." And that's, it seems like it is to me too. But would I be surprised if the world lasted 2,000 more years? I don't know. No. I mean, why would I be? I don't know. I can't really know. That's.
I mean, that was part of the teaching, is that some of you will still be around when the world ends.
Well, no.
I don't think they're still around.
They were talking about the second coming, and, that's a good point, and I'm not ready with my theology to argue that today. We can do that another time.
When
You're over.
Election?
You're way over.
I know, I'm way over, and I got to scoot because I got stuff to do. But just, again, good news that less people are listening to the good news. How about that? a heavy summation.
I don't know that it's good news, but okay.
Well, it's losing its sway, which means religion, as it has done throughout history.
Let me ask you a real simple question.
Not just Christianity, religion, the overall, will adapt. I think that's why you've seen, by the way, a big push on social justice, especially on immigration issues, because those new faces that preachers are seeing in the polls or pews, a lot of them are a little browner than they're used to. You speak to that crowd. Why do you see churches actively disobeying immigration laws, taking in undocumenteds or illegals? I don't know.
There's so much there. That's 2 or 3 shows, Bradshaw.
And we have time to do them. Anyway, email me at radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Tomorrow, we'll talk debate. And I want to believe, history tells me otherwise, but I see Chucky Schumer, of all people, calling out the deficit peacocks and why it's a bad idea for those of us on the left to listen to them, give them credence and or quarter. So we'll talk about that in debate prep tomorrow. It should be a hoot. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com. Find me on Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Or just go to thebradshawshow.com. I will see you fine folks tomorrow. Until then, live long, prosper. Don't panic.